Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Captain Timothy Brown of the 2nd Company, 3rd Regiment, the New Jersey Militia. And here at the Howell Works is where we muster 4 times per year. Usually it is February, May, August, and November. Forgive me. And what we do is we muster 4 times per year, and the purpose of the militia is to defend the state of New Jersey. The other possible use is to assist the sheriff of the county in apprehending criminals. Fourthly, we sometimes do parades on holidays such as Independence Day. But the most important thing is that we ensure that we muster so that we know we have the equipment we need in the event that New Jersey needs to be defended. Now, the militia was formed under the Militia Act of 1792 by the United States Congress. Every state was required to have its own militia, which, for all intents and purposes, is a state army. Each militiaman is required to provide his own equipment at this time. For instance, my uniform, a coatee with a sash, sword, haversack, trousers, boots, and hat, all had to be supplied by myself. Same with the enlisted man. The enlisted man had to supply his own knapsack, his own blanket, his own musket, his own uniform, his own hat, and his own knife, hatchet, and cartridge box. And he could add other things as needed for his use. The enlisted militiaman, if you'd like to come a little closer, the enlisted militiaman, I'll go through these equipment again so you can kind of focus on each one. This is called a knapsack. It's basically a 2-strap bag you hang over your back. You keep your blanket and all of your spare clothing, whatever you may need. This one is called a Lerbet Knapsack, and as you can see, it's marked New Jersey. This is his cleaning equipment for his musket, as well as his bag with other equipment. Canteen, you would have to have a canteen. This is called a wheel cap, and the wheel cap was used as sort of a light-duty hat. And then you have the dress hat, which is basically a top hat with a federal eagle and a hackle on top. Now you notice the hackle is red, and I'll explain that in a short piece. And then he would have to have his musket, which had to be inspected at every muster. He had a knife or a bayonet, a hatchet, and a cartridge box. And underneath all this, is a little difficult to see, is his roundabout jacket, which is basically a short jacket. He had to have that as part of his uniform. The trousers were not as set in stone. Generally, they like to be light blue, but they weren't always. But basically, the jacket and the hat were the main part of the uniform. So the musket that they carried usually was close to the current United States federal musket. This one happens to be an 1816 Springfield. Some of them had 1795s, they had older ones, or sometimes there were a civilian musket, or a civilian Fowler, they called it, smoothbore, that would be used in the same fashion, is loaded the same way. It's also a smoothbore firearm, very similar to a musket. So, and then this is an 1816 musket, probably the most common musket of the era of 1830s. The musket was usually loaded with a single cartridge made of paper with powder inside and a bullet inside. Of course, in this case, we're not using a bullet because we're not allowed to in this location. The important thing for a militiaman was that he had opposing front teeth. And the reason for that was so that he could tear open that cartridge with one hand. Like that. He has to pour some powder in a flash pan here. The rest of the powder gets poured in the muzzle. And then normally it would be the ball and then the paper on top. Then you use your rammer to drive that down to the breech, that is the bottom of the barrel. course, you want to return your rammer, don't ever leave it inside. Now this is at half cock. There's no way it will fire until I pull it back to full cock. But it has a loaded pan and a loaded charge, which is all the way down here now. Next step is full cock, and I'll say ready, aim, fire. Ready, aim.